The first thing I noticed was the sound of shoes, polished leather over marble, too loud for grief. I was standing by the coffin, my mother's favorite lilies clutched in one hand, when I heard that voice. Smirking, loud, alive. Well, well, poor you. Still alone at 40. I didn't turn. Not right away. Because I already knew. That voice had haunted the last 8 years of my silence. I got the woman, the money, and the mansion. He laughed, sharp and cold like cracked glass. And then I heard her. Her laugh. Soft. Practiced. Still wrapped in silk and secrets. My brother. And the woman I was once going to marry. Now wearing my mother's pearls and his diamond ring. I placed the lilies on the coffin without a word. Then I turned and smiled. Not at them. Through them. 8 years ago, we were days from the wedding. Invitations printed. My tux tailored. Her eyes sparkled when she said yes. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe that part was just projection, something I created to protect myself from the truth I didn't want to see. She started coming home later. More secrets. More silences between her smiles. And him? My younger brother. Always behind me. Always watching. They said they didn't mean for it to happen. That love doesn't ask permission. That blood doesn't own people. I didn't scream. Didn't fight. I stepped aside. Let them have each other. Because back then, I still believed betrayal would punish itself. Back then, I didn't understand how deep resentment could grow in silence. After they left with each other in my future, I disappeared. Not physically. I was still there at birthdays, holidays, weddings I wasn't invited to but heard about through whispers. They lived loud. Louder with every dollar she took from the investor I introduced her to. They bought the house I showed her during our engagement. He wore my father's watch. She kept my dog. But I stayed quiet, watched from the edges, and waited. I started collecting things. Company filings, property records, emails they thought were deleted. She put everything in his name. And he? He'd put his trust in no prenup, no paper trail, and no memory of me. But I remembered everything. I watched as their perfect world began to crack small, subtle. Misfiled taxes. Disputed invoices. A lawsuit or two brushed under the rug. They thought they were untouchable. But every empire rots from the inside first. And I had time. It took 6 years, but I bought out the holding company they never noticed had controlling shares in her brand. 2 more, and I had the deeds. All 3. The mansion, the condo, and the rental they stashed away for privacy. The paperwork arrived 2 weeks before the funeral, just in time. At the reception, after he toasted my mother with cheap words and expensive wine, I stood, walked to him slowly, pulled out the envelope, handed it to her. She opened it, eyes scanning faster, her breath hitching on page 2. What is this? My condolences, I said. He snatched it from her hands. Read, went pale. You bought the company? I nodded. And the properties? All of them. Her voice cracked. You can't do this. You already did, I replied. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't gloat. I simply stated facts. You moved into a house that was never yours. Built a business on stolen trust. Took a man who trusted you and turned him into a mirror of yourself. They stood there silent, cornered, unraveling. You never wondered why the contracts kept getting worse. Why the investors disappeared one by one. His mouth moved but made no sound. She tried to reach for her wine. Her hand shook too much to lift it. I leaned in, voice low. You stole my life. So I stole yours. Piece by piece. Slowly. So you'd never notice until everything you touched turned to ash. Then I stepped back and smiled again. This time at them. Full. Calm. Final. I buried my mother. And the last piece of who I used to be. I never wanted revenge. Not at first. I just wanted the silence to stop hurting. But when pain has nowhere to go, it calcifies. Becomes focus. Becomes fuel. Now I live quietly. Alone? Maybe, but never empty. I walk through halls they used to own. Open drawers filled with forgotten rings and broken promises. The past doesn't haunt me anymore. It obeys me. And as for them, they can keep each other. In a house with no title, no income, and nowhere left to hide. He got the woman. I got everything else. And they both got exactly what they deserved.